that case, press the button.
I shall.
Done. And possibly have. That's what I thought. I strongly suspect
I pressed it as you were saying in that case.
Of course you did. Hi, this is Beth. Welcome to GURPS Wars, a homebrew GURPS Star Wars game with EO and Ellie and Crash. And I believe we're doing the Smugglers today. We decided on that, right?
Our guns are 100% legitimate, depending on who you're asking.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sort of more prepared for the Smugglers than I am for the idea that I'd have to dig up my notes for what I'm planning for the apprentices, the logistics trio next time. So,
okay. I think we all just said we'd be fine with either.
That's true.
We could stay in this timeline and do logistics trio, which would be logistics toddlers.
Logistics babies.
Darth Chardonnay comes in wearing green and white striped socks to have a conversation with us about our next.
I mean, he'd probably be Lord Chardonnay by this time. There's just one little problem, which is that Then is
Yeah.
not from that kindergarten.
Yeah.
Transfer student. Exchange student.
No. That would be severely AU.
Whenever they do a show that's like, here's everyone, but in smaller form, they ignore many problematic things, which is why characters that were canonically killed in the Ruby animations still kept showing up in Ruby Chibi. And they made a point of saying, and everything is fine, while staring directly at the camera.
Okay. Well, no.
But everything is fine on the Bucephala, or whatever we're calling it right now. We have some officer ducklings being managed. We have somebody who no longer has a bug parasite in their head. We have someone who definitely does have a bug parasite in there. I don't remember where we're canonically keeping all my explosives. Somebody is living in engine because we ran out of bunks.
Unless you want to stuff the
they're probably stuffed into multiple cabinets.
Yeah, he's a failed Padawan as near as you can tell, since he keeps pointing at poor Zulrock and going, I will not fall to the dark side. But it's not to say that he's a Jedi.
This is why I have neither told him what my tchotchkes do or shown him where I'm putting. He seems like an honest man, which is a very, very dangerous.
Yes. Most concerning.
After all, I'm very truthful, and we know how dangerous I am.
Fortunately, he does not seem to have Jawa language skills, although the droid has translated things for you without asking sometimes. It's just being helpful. CSD4 is just being helpful. I see you dancing there.
Look.
Anyway, you put Kodo back in engineering.
Jen rolls a die every time they log into Foundry, because it's just what they do. My characters can dance.
Let's see. I believe you've been keeping Nedra unconscious via force tactics and or sedatives.
Yep.
Okay. See all right.
For the record, that was
amazing.
Hidden.
I know. That's fine.
I was
just rolling some dice.
I didn't know if it mattered, so I thought.
No, it's just rolling dice. You know, it doesn't matter. If it'd been extreme roll one way or the other, it might have mattered. Rotini, you failed your dex roll by 1.
Well, I don't have dance skills, so I'm assuming that dance is actually dex -5. So I failed by.
I mean, there's dancing. There's dancing. You can just sort of sit there and wave your little hands a little bit, and it doesn't take very much dex to just sort of do a little dance.
I dance like no one's watching. Unfortunately, the ship is full of people.
Your Imperial ducklings seem to view you as a sort of appalling little pet that the Sith Lord is keeping and also allowing to play with this is fine. This has got to be fine. The ship got there without blowing up. obviously something is going right. They probably shouldn't interfere with it, because if they try to prod at the engines at all, they get chased out by a yelling Jawa.
Oh no, they think I'm the mascot. I pull back the hood to reveal that I've been a capybara the whole time.
Jawas can be mascots too. Is there anything that anyone wants to do specifically before arriving at the place where there's a chunk of Imperial fleet that is staying there for whatever reason? Zisha?
I'm thinking.
Okay.
If I have a reason, it's not a good one.
I do set up a cornhole game to pass the time.
Did my brain feed me a different question than you actually asked?
I asked if there was anything that you were doing before you show up to deliver your ducklings.
Okay. Yes. What my brain got was, is there any reason not to have you show up right away?
That makes sense.
It's very similar.
Yes. No, I'm studying like I usually do when we're traveling. But other than that, I'm studying, I'm flying the ship, I'm making sure everybody's happy.
Okay. The Imperials you've gotten them cooking and they're willing to do that, and they are still occasionally having to remind themselves that you are clearly a Twi'lek of status, which they're not used to. But obviously you are, so they better get used to it. Zulrock, besides dodging the ducklings who all salute you and whatnot.
It's not the saluting, it's that they're not really my ducklings.
Oh,
I am keeping a close eye on Nedra.
this is a good idea, because periodically it does seem like some kind of damage is being done to her that you have to patch up.
Lovely. Yes, I am keeping a very close watch on Nedra.
Perhaps whatever is in there is messing with her brain chemistry. It's a little hard to tell. You'd have to make rolls to be sure of what's going on with her.
What sort of rolls?
Well, what have you got that would be useful? Healing.
Healing, alchemy, hidden lore.
Probably the healing would be best. Alchemy might wind up being useful. Your healing is will-based normally, right?
Yes, it would be IQ-based.
It would be an IQ-based healing. Healing other.
Don't think that's gonna... Oh, is gonna.
Just made it. Okay, the just making it is... Whatever is going on is indeed related to that little lump of psychic something that is cozied up at the base of her skull, possibly slightly inside it. Ew. You can't tell whether it's manipulating her own body chemistry in ways that are dangerous, or if it's excreting things, or if it's doing physical damage.
Unfortunate.
You can tell that it's the thing responsible, and it's doing a thing. You're not quite sure what it's doing, but keeping that asleep or unconscious somehow would probably be beneficial.
I will do my best.
Give me an appropriate roll that seems like it would be useful for you. I mean, presumably healing other would probably do it too, but what are you rolling here? Mind tricks made by 8. Yes, you are forcing that thing to sleep. It does periodically try to surface again because there are other things yelling wake up at it telepathically, but you can generally every few hours go, no, I will not make you make 5 billion rolls, because that's just stupid. I mean, unless you just want to roll dice for some reason.
No, I do not feel a need to make 5 billion rolls.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to roll the dice, but
But there are limits.
yes, poor Crash. There are not enough Star Trek Parasite gifts that are not completely gross.
Just the inclusion of the word parasite makes it gross. And that episode, they did a very good job.
I mean, the whole parasite thing is sort of a body horror kind of thing. So...
And there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, Just saying parasite is horrible most of the time. Well, except for that one. That one's cute.
That's not a parasite. That's just a worm.
Exactly.
From Labyrinth, if I recall.
Yes, that's a Labyrinth one. It's got a little scarf and big eyes that are pretty like a hut's. And
if I remember correctly, a Cockney British accent.
Probably. That sounds vaguely familiar. And little fluffy bits. Okay. Anyone else have any bright ideas or horrible ways to derail what vestiges of a plot might be left?
Well, there's something we need to do, and I've already rebuilt all my explosives and moved my explosives again. And so I have organized a cornhole tournament. I have some beanbags that I decommissioned, so they no longer but
always useful.
I got to keep my throwing skills maintained. So, it's good to have metrics to compete against. And for that, I create a sign-up sheet for the officers. Anyone who wishes to participate can sign up and see how well they can compete. There's a bracket system that I make.
Mm-hmm. You probably do, in fact, get at least a few of the officers who are willing to compete in tossing little bean bags into a small hole and competing against a Jawa doing the same, and discovering that the Jawa has throwing, what is it? What's your throwing now?
I believe it's 18.
Yeah, throwing 18. They do not have throwing 18. They're kind of horrified by how...
To be fair, they're officers. They're Imperial officers. They don't tend to throw beanbags for a living. However... They may call this corny, but I was born on the cob.
You can get Kodo to join in as well, and he cheats. You can tell he's cheating. Yes, he's cheating. He's using telekinesis. Made by 8.
I make it by 8.
You win anyway. You win.
Look, had this been done with live rounds instead of being a dry fire exercise, there's no guarantee I'm only going up against people who aren't force sensitive.
He's impressed. Oh, those are our Kodos, not Kobos? You're right, those are good.
Kobo is the book thing. The World of Warcraft mount is Kodo.
It is. I have no idea where the name came from. I just stole it from One Shot Adventures. So, well, okay. It's with a C, not a K. He is not he's human. He's not a riding creature with a horn.
The one with the K is the e-reader.
Right. And also he has
the one with the C is a mount for minotaurs.
Yes. Hefty minotaurs. No, something. C is with Kodo. Kodos with K's are...
Kodo, that's good enough for me.
You people are being mean and confusing me.
I'm agreeing with you.
Also, I'm confused. So, during the Coco... No. Cookie for Coco? No. No. You people. Where was my train of thought?
I believe it derailed some time ago. But that was a different with the logistics trio.
That was not a train of thought. That was a hover train. So, during the beanbag tossing, the officers are kind of dubious about the fact that apparently there's a non-apprentice on board who gives them the side eye periodically. But if if the Sith Lord says this is okay, sure, fine, whatever. Obviously, the person protesting that he's not an apprentice will become one eventually. That's how this works, right? Right, sure. Everything's fine here. They're all fine.
How are you?
They'll toss the beanbag. Yeah, how are you? They'll toss a beanbag. You pop out and
through his beanbag throw.
Even if he's cheating.
Actually, would I know that he was cheating?
Possibly he was doing it blatantly to be obnoxious.
So what do I roll?
To know if he's cheating?
Yeah.
IQ. Don't crit fail.
There are times when I am oblivious.
Not right now. You made that one by 6.
Yeah. He used the skills he had available to him. As someone who has made many explosives out of a variety of tchotchkes, including I have not canonically gotten rid of the stuffed Weesey.
Mm-hmm.
The big one that I got rid of was the Reuben sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, you still have the Weesey. You have a stuffed hut.
I left in the voice modulator. So every time you
Of
squeeze
course.
it says a random thing.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it says in Hades, I'm a 30-second bomb. Anyway,
how did
out of
that get in there?
popping out of hyperspace, blaring your comm and the appropriate codes for "Don't shoot us. We're not actually an incoming Republic scout ship." Except you are still using the rock and roll, aren't you?
Yes.
Because
And I told them about that.
You've told them about that. They're still going to, you still get the hail and rock and go to such and such coordinates for scanning.
Yeah, sure. I got nothing to hide.
Okay, okay. You are in, you get to sit there, you get to be scanned. Renaming our ship to the "Please Don't Kill Us" next port of call. I think that's one of those. The name of my ship is is raising questions that are answered by the name of my ship. So you are determined to be, okay, yes, this is you. In fact, they will go and dredge up the Captain Travas, who is honestly looks quite pleased to see you and says that he understands that you have some cargo, and would you care to dock, or do you wish a shuttle to dock and take the cargo away?
Yeah, we can dock, I think. Can we dock?
You can dock. Give me a piloting roll to move into the, large Dorito or triangle, extended triangle, pointy Imperial ship.
As much as I mess with the ship, I'm not messing with the airlock. Thank you very much.
You use that thing yourself.
I need it intact for when I'm throwing bombs out at pursuers, or when I'm allowed to throw bombs out the airlock at pursuers. I have been stifled. In any case,
Just for my own, yes, made it by 4. Just for my own entertainment, are you docking the port airlock or the starboard airlock? Just so I know which side I have to deal with.
14 or 7.
Port.
The port airlock. Okay. The port one is
14 or 7.
7 is the port one.
I know
it was
it's
odds.
Starboard, but every direction of this ship leads towards stars.
True, but it says so on the little thing to the side. Scroll over to the side.
Down is starboard.
Yeah, on the map. But see, look, it has a 7, and then you go over and you look at the 7 on the side because it's got a numbering thing. See?
Yes, but that's out there in space. I'm not over there.
Oh, actually, that's a really fair point. I really should use the starboard airlock.
14? Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's closer to where
that's where they live.
Yeah, they do live in the starboard cargo bay right now, which does have a thing that seems to be a bed of some kind, so it's probably bunks. After all, sometimes you throw people in there, right?
We're going up to dock, and at the last minute, the ship just flips around.
Well, obviously you were coming around to dock, and you were upside down, and the, traffic control, the comm person was going, you are upside down. You realize that, don't you? And Zisha's going, yeah.
Zisha, have you ever docked your ship at an odd angle to mess with people coming or going?
I've been advised by my lawyer not to answer that question.
Wait, I'm your lawyer.
Yes, well, you advised me not to answer that question.
I don't remember that, but you're an honest person. I'll take your word for it. I think I'm the only person here who has skill in law.
Yes, you were studying up on it.
I have 1 point in law. I'm not good at law, but I have a point in it.
I also have 1 point in law. We took the same correspondence.
Yeah, but your IQ is too higher than mine.
I also have a point, but it is a vastly different area of law that is unlikely to be applicable anytime soon.
How many lawyers we have on this ship? 3 of us raise our hands. Yo.
Yes, but I mean, the law that Solrock knows is rather a different culture's law. A little more applicable in the Empire, depending.
But that doesn't mean applicable.
Some of those laws
no,
might
a
still
little bit.
be on the books. Who knows? Those books might be clay tablets written in cuneiform, but that's besides the point.
You have all your little ducklings moving out those carbonite, not kryptonite. My brain keeps wanting to sub in kryptonite.
Let's not.
Let's not. We do not need people encased in kryptonite. That sounds problematic.
I'm told that stuff's radioactive. I might be chipping off some samples for study. Just for study.
Nisha, you're on the bridge. Tom from engineering goes bip bip at you. Or you were on the bridge at one point.
I was on the bridge. I thought I would.
Yeah.
I thought we were docked and had.
Just
and I
before
was
you were, just as you're
seeing
standing up,
everybody off.
just as you're standing up, the bip bip from engineering goes bip 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 bip.
Okay, I'll answer it.
You hear your passenger Kodo. Captain,
Yeah.
are we next to something that has dark presences on it?
Possible. I stay low.
Yeah, great. I'll just stay here in engineering. Where the criff are we? Zorog, detecting disturbances. Yeah. There is a presence over there. It's a force presence. You suppose it's dark. It doesn't seem that dark, but normally dark, adequately dark, vaguely dark, cranky.
It's twilight. Therefore, it's a little dark, but sparkly.
No, that's one of EO's other characters.
What's sparkly?
One of your Twi'lek inquisitors.
Granted.
Told you. That's one of EO's other characters. So, I'll just stay here in engineering. Please try to keep more Sith off the ship. Then it's like, oh, hi, little fella.
I wave. I do not hand over an emotional support grenade. I have explosives 20, so I know not to do that.
Kodo waves back and just sort of sits in the corner and looks tired. Anyway, your ducklings are all going to wait for the door to open. You get the door opening. Let me make up a name. I have to make up a name.
Bobbert.
There is a woman in a uniform who is, there with a number of people who are also in, medical uniforms and some medical droids, who does not have an icon because I don't have a generic icon, who's sort of, Captain Zisha, I presume.
That's me.
I am here to take charge of the officers, and I believe some of them are in carbonite, was mentioned at some point.
That's correct.
We have hover platforms right here. Shall we send the hover platforms in, or do you wish to minimize Imperial feet upon your ship?
We can bring them out, although it's more that I don't think the hover platforms will fit through the airlock.
Yes, we did bring the large ones. My mistake. I was told it was a cargo ship, and I made assumptions. My apologies.
Well, we docked rather than going into a landing bay. Otherwise, I would have used the cargo lift.
Nod. Understood. We can send in a cargo droid if you wish. I believe we have one around. In the meantime, you have plenty of little ducklings all lined up, not going to trample Zisha, and ready to leave.
They're all yours.
Very good. I am requested to bring you to the briefing, the conference room with the captain and an individual who wishes to gain more information about the situation.
Well, that sounds fun.
Nod. I am supposed to also bring the Sith Lord you have with you, if that is acceptable to them.
There is someone I must bring to your med bay.
Oh, all right. We could handle that for you, my lord?
No, she is infected by a force-active parasitic intelligence. I must be there when it is extracted.
Of course, my lord. Captain, do you wish to accompany me to the meeting first, or will you?
Beth, I cannot hear you at all.
What the criff? I'm not muted.
I can hear you.
I'm not muted.
I could hear you.
Oh, I cannot hear anyone.
Oh, that's fun.
We traced the problem. It's coming from inside EO's computer.
Horses. How's that? Nope.
Somehow my computer got muted.
Oh, weird.
Oh, I think that's. I think that is that should count for the bingo card.
I'd argue yes.
Weird. Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Everything after I said the thing about the force active parasite, I did not hear.
She went, yes, of course, my lord. At once, Captain Zisha, do you wish to accompany your lord to the medical bay, or will you accompany me to the conference room?
I'll be more than happy to come to the conference room.
Very well. My lord, if you would follow the medical officer here, please. Assuming that you have Nedra slung over your shoulder or something.
Slung over my shoulder is probably not quite it, but
Critical success telekinesis other. Made it by 12. You have her floating unconscious at your side, over your shoulder, without actually touching, whatever you want.
yeah, I am carefully navigating her through.
You are presented with a medical officer, nurse. I will make up a name. No, that's not there's a good name.
Barbara.
No.
Barbara Ann?
Vauhi. There. Nurse Vauhi is a chiss, just because. Who is, for those who don't know what chiss look like, they're basically dark blue with red eyes that do not have a terribly discernible pupil whatsoever. They are one of the few alien species that actually shows up in the Empire without the Empire making snide things. Yeah, for some reason he actually has pupils. I don't know why Thrawn gets pupils and all the ones
It's just an art style difference in Rebels.
Okay. Well, most of the ones that wind up in Switor do not show pupils, so anyway. In a medical uniform going this way, my lord. Yeah, context to fit in. Yeah, that would honestly be plausible. So, you have split the party. Rotini, are you staying with the ship? Are you sending Elbow to be your eyes and ears with somebody, or?
I feel like the Empire is somewhat better equipped than WYSI rules level security. So I'm hesitant to send Elbow onto the ship because that could lead to a diplomatic incident.
Elbow is lightly explosive, yes.
If you want to understate what I've done to Elbow, you're absolutely right, yes. I'm still working on the arm launchers. That's not canonically installed. I don't like a lot of this situation, but I feel like someone who has a level head should be staying on the ship to keep an eye on it and make sure no one tries to hop on or off of it that shouldn't be hopping on or off of it. But because everyone with a level head has left the ship at this point, that leaves it to me.
Yeah, it kind of does. You're going to stay on the ship and presumably keep the comms open between people and whatnot, okay? I assume?
The comms open, engines warm.
Ready to seal off the airlock and run away.
I've set Elbow to self-cleaning mode, which basically means he's gone full Roomba.
Making little beeps at CSD4, etc.
Yes,
the level-headed person. Indeed, the level-headed person with impulsiveness, overconfidence, and truthfulness, as Ellie typed.
I already said, everyone with the level head has left the ship. It falls to me.
You all have overconfidence.
Yeah.
There is not a single person on this ship without overconfidence, except the NPC, I think. Does the NPC have overconfidence?
I have repeatedly said that our overconfidence is not a weakness, but a strength. I'm more concerned with the impulsive.
In any case, we're splitting the party.
Yes, in 3 different directions.
In 3 different directions.
Because we love the GM.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm going to go with the encounter order that got rolled a while ago and is still active.
I'm not entirely sure our rules, doesn't it just apply to
I mean,
formula?
Mostly it's applying a formula, and if you for it, then it gives you a slight random. Yeah, the roll is a tiebreaker because you and Zisha are otherwise. I will reset everybody. You can all roll your. Let's see who tie breaks. No, Dickens, don't do. No, you may not have the cheddar potato chips.
I went to roll for initiative, and somebody else rolled at the same time that I was trying to click. And so they went to the right place, but that pushed me down. So I ended up clicking on them instead of clicking on the button to roll initiative. In any case, the person who's staying on the ship is going last. This is...
Zorak, have you rolled? Just for fun. I mean, you're going to be...
Yeah, Zorak
anyway.
got a 9. Oh, I'm not last. Zorak got a 9.
Right, Zorak is last. Zisha! We are going to theater of the mind now. I will stop looking at the pretty pictures. You are led through, honestly, kind of drab corridors with the occasional Imperial doing a double take at you because you are a Twi'lek who is... Wow, okay. The Empire's not really a great place, but, you know, people are people wherever people are.
You're also paying money.
Yes, and they're paying money, which is definitely a useful thing. You are led into a room where there is a Imperial captain. You recognize this as Captain Travas, your contact, basically, hired you. And someone who is wearing dark robes and a hood, looks to be human, clean-shaven, male, has a lightsaber, standing around, glowering. For amusement, give me an IQ roll. Looks like he's trying to glower a little bit hard. You know, Zwolrock can glower absolutely just, you know, resting glower face. This person is having to work at a glower. That's definitely the wrong empire. Yes, you have found the wrong empire, Crash.
That's the Imperium of Man from Warhammer 40k, I believe.
Wrong.
Not visit.
Yeah.
You think
Hilarious
the Sith
as it
have
might
it
be.
bad?
Oh, hey, I have an outfit just like that. I'm really glad I didn't wear it today. That would have been embarrassing.
You are getting a stare.
That wasn't
An absolute
Tux's voice,
stare.
but that was channeling and Tuxa for certain.
The woman who brought you, Lieutenant Nikel, says, "This is Captain Zisha, my lord, Captain. The Sith Lord aboard Captain Zisha's ship had to go to medical with someone who required immediate treatment, and they were most insistent. My apologies. I will direct them here when they are done." Pravas says, "Dismissed." The other Sith, robed Sith, nods. Lieutenant Nikel just fades out of the room politely. No, she's not turning invisible. She just, you know, backs away and is gone. Yes. Just in case.
I will award myself 1 Cypher System XP.
You made the
this
GM
GM
laugh. Yes, indeed. For distracting the GM. Naughty. I'm going to get... Captain Travas says, you know, nods, and Captain Zisha, please have a seat. I'm sorry that my intelligence officer refused to make this discussion. They, for some reason, seem to think that you should not know who they are.
Oh, that's fun.
At least I know who they are, probably. I am officially thanking you for your efforts on our behalf, and I am not passing along the intelligence officers chiding at not getting the last 2 of the officers who were in the Hutt's possession, because my intelligence officer is, quite frankly, a perfectionist. I am told... Yes, well... I'm told that they are putting people into position to acquire and extract the loosed Imperial soldiers who you could not pack into the ship like some sort of shrimp in a can. Again, I am not passing on any critiques about not packing everyone in like shrimps on a can. I'm not sure you have the life support. Intelligence.
I beg your
Alpha.
pardon. We had nothing to do with this. Also, I am a child right now.
With a surprisingly deep voice.
Yes, intelligence and logistics do not necessarily get along sometimes. So, I am supposed to ask for a briefing on the situation that you found and anything that you left out of the communications before, and and guide you through a briefing if you are inexperienced with doing such things.
I will give him most of the story.
Which parts are you leaving out?
I will tell him about I'll tell him about how we got the information about where everybody was being held, and that I couldn't find a record of the other two being there. I will tell him how we scouted out the warehouse where they were being kept and the storeroom where the enlisted men were being kept. Enlisted
The other officers.
Spacers?
Yeah, the spacers, yeah. You had most of the officers. You're missing the commanding officer of the ship, and you're missing the commanding officer of the ground crew that the ship was transporting.
Right. I mean separately, where the officers were being kept and where the non-officers were being kept.
Yeah, right.
I will explain the ridiculousness about the ship names.
This is actually taken in stride by even the Sith who has not been introduced, because clearly this is, you are causing, a diversion and throwing people off the trail.
The Imperial outfits flash mob, the difficulty that WeSee seems to have with good security. We paid all the taxis out of WeSee's funds, and then we got all the officers on the ship and headed back here. They don't need to know anything about the ice cream maker or any of the people involved with it.
Okay. They do not ask you inconvenient questions about the ice cream maker, which is
you don't have to tell them inconvenient truths as the planet gets continuously warmer.
So, no extra fees or anything, just the agreed upon payment, and we're good.
They're going to be asking you some other questions, but if it's all right, I'd like to switch to...
Yeah, of course.
Zworak, because obviously reporting is probably going to take a while. Zworak!
I'm not the only one who gets to have fun.
Well, I mean, You are led by Nurse Vohi to a med bay. It is a med bay on a small dreadnought. Therefore, it's pretty big. It may even be like 2 levels with ramps and whatnot. There are a number of surgeon droids around. There are nurse droids. There are numbers of biological people around. There are medical bays.
It is sure a med bay.
It is a med bay. The you have been striding off much more quickly than all the duckling officers who nodded to you respectfully as you passed, and everyone else nods respectfully as you pass. In fact, everyone gets out of your way. They see you coming and they basically move out of your way and stop and wait for you to pass before they go on their business because you are walking swiftly.
Well, that tracks.
Mm-hmm. It's sort of the walking equivalent of how people would behave when, the ambulance is flashing its lights. You go over.
There is an unconscious woman floating beside me. The ambulance is flashing its lights.
It is.
No, this all seems perfectly normal. It's just weird still that they're basically all human.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see anyone of a appropriately ruddy complexion, shall we say. It's all human tones. It's ranging from sort of pale cream to dark brown. It's all human. It's so weird. Why are they all aliens like this?
Somehow, I feel as though I would not get a satisfactory answer.
Probably not. The nurse directs you immediately to a bed and asks, "Do you wish a surgery droid immediately, my lord?"
Yes, that would be best.
She
I
zips
can
off.
keep her Excellent.
She zips off. She comes back very quickly with basically the nearest surgery droid that was sort of hovering there with all of its scalpels and whatnot, looking like a extremely dangerous jellyfish. The droid pauses and makes some inquiring beeps.
I do not speak that language. Droid, there is a parasite at, I believe, the base of her spine?
The base of her skull.
Yeah, the base of her skull. It must be extracted. I will keep it quiescent during the surgery.
The droid makes a few more beeps and then says in basic, "Does the parasite need to be killed, or is it to be obtained alive for biotics, my lord?"
Killed.
"Yes, my lord." "Without damage to the host?"
Correct.
"Understood. Prioritizing the host's life."
Should I make a roll for anything during this?
"Give me a roll to keep it quiescent."
Oh.
Critical success. Honestly, you're keeping it quiescent hard enough that there's a non-zero chance that some of the consciousnesses on the other end that are yelling at it to wake up have gotten extremely drowsy. You made that by 12. You rolled a 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just making sure that everyone knows. Yes. Congratulations, you're being rescued. Please do not resist. Just make a little surgery roll here. Yeah, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. The droid is basically, with the assistance of you and the nurse, going to prop Nedra's head in an appropriate position, put a breathing mask on her so that she does not obstruct her own airway, and you are getting surgery within like 10 minutes. Swab down the area, shave the area. Sorry, Nedra, you have a horrible haircut now. And beginning to perform the surgery right then and there, because Imperial surgery stuff does not necessarily wait very long, especially when a apparent Sith Lord is telling them to do it.
And says things like force active parasite.
Yeah. That you desire to be dead. A somewhat severed creature is pulled out. It looks a bit like a crab or something. It's round. It does not appear to have body segments. It has a lot of little legs and a few larger legs. It's maybe thumbnail widths, even with the larger legs. It is deposited into a surgery tray with the nurse holds and, in the two halves of it. And then the droid works on cleaning up the wound and doing the appropriate tidying up, making sure everything's fine, making sure there aren't any extras, scan, etc. The nurse asks, "My lord, do you wish to have this for your own study, or is it to be shipped to biotics?"
We need to track them down. I will keep the corpse.
"Yes, my lord. I'll put it in a small stasis chamber for you."
Excellent.
The tiniest of stasis
A word
chambers.
of warning.
"Yes, my lord?"
If anyone, perhaps after a shore leave, suddenly becomes sleepless and perhaps begins hallucinating voices, they must be checked for these.
Understood, my lord. I will suggest that everyone should have a quick check for this sort of thing just as a precaution. They are only found where this one was found? In the body?
That is where it has been both times I have encountered it. It seems to be where they like to take root.
Yes, my lord. I will enter this information in immediately. Do you wish me to make some preliminary scans for you?
Go ahead.
Of course.
I believe I must catch up to a conference room.
One moment, I will get someone to guide you as soon as I can get them. The nurse hurries off.
Thank you.
You do, in fact, get Lieutenant Nickel, who was apparently headed your direction already, and therefore shows up quite promptly and says, "My lord, do you wish to go to the conference room now?"
Yes, let's go. The researcher should recover on her own.
Of course, my lord.
Shorrock, not attempting to do whatever healing / anesthetic purging would be required to wake Nedra up immediately. That seems unnecessary.
Honestly, Nedra can probably use the sleep.
Yeah.
You are led through these hallways, and since you are not walking in an emergency fashion, people merely get out of your way. They do so quite respectfully, so yay? Zisha, as you are wrapping up your report on everything that happened, there is a knock on the door, and at the, enter that the Captain Travas says, you see Lieutenant Nickel and Zulrock.
Shorrock nods.
Oh, hey.
Zulrock.
Captain Zisha.
There's also
How things
Captain.
go in Midbay?
Nedra is recovering now. The crew has been warned about the parasites.
Ah, good.
Captain Travas says, "Parasites. My lord, if you would be so kind, pardon me, this is Lord Retrost with me here. Lord Retrost, this is... Did you ever give your name, Zulrock?"
I forget, but I will give it now, and I must take a second because I have their full name written down somewhere.
Wiener, Gustavus, Adolphus, Ganstorm, Montgomery, Zulrock.
No! No!
Rock Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
His name is my name
Let
too.
me say it. Let me say it.
Sorry.
Shwolrock Jen Karhoyakat. Shwolrock.
Lord Retrost does a certain mild blink, because that is certainly a full name that you have given, and does a slight acknowledgement that is almost into I acknowledge you as somewhat superior to me bow. And as has been pointed out, it's been about an hour. We should take a break.
We should.
We are unpaused.
Is that what that was all about then? The soundboard?
I don't know what you mean. None of the soundboard got into the recording.
Oh, then it's nothing that we need to worry about. Right. Okay, that's good. Where were we? Oh, yes, introducing. And I need my notes back because I will forget names if I look away for 5 seconds. My brain, tapioca. Lord Retros acknowledges the long string of name titles that Dwarrock has with evidence of respect. No, Lieutenant Nyquil. Nickel.
Don't feed the lieutenants, NyQuil. They need to be awake for their shifts.
Yes.
If they've got a parasite, they need their sleep.
Well, hopefully they don't have a parasite.
Yes, but warnings have been given.
Correct.
Warnings have been given. Although Captain Travas is very interested in this thing about telepathic force parasites. Force-using parasites? He would very much like to be saying, report immediately, but he cannot because you are a Sith. Therefore, he can only invite you to expand on that, my lord?
They are interlinked through the Force with some small set of primary minds, let us say. But when they put their will behind something, they draw in their infected to add to it.
And what are these infected doing, my lord?
That is a fascinating question. We did not allow ours to run off to the location she felt compelled to go to. But they seem to be disseminating the parasites. What do they wish to do besides that, I do not know.
They were certainly thinking malevolent thoughts at you, you're pretty sure. But, well.
Infected retain some degree of their personality, but if they fight the parasite too much, it appears to harm them.
Lord Retrost says, do you know where the parasites came from?
We intend to investigate.
Nod. I am going to be slipping into Ord Mantell to try to assist recovering the officers that you could not find in the amount of time you had. Do you have any suggestions? Either of you.
Well, we see the Huts probably got them somewhere, but I couldn't find a location where.
Any areas nearby that didn't have cameras on them? Perhaps her own.
Yeah, if she had a private warehouse somewhere or a storehouse on her next to her quarters. We can give you all her passwords that we had.
Yes, please do.
I will make a note. It's been a week. She might have changed them. She might not.
Certainly a starting place.
The password is now We See Rules 2.
Or maybe we see rules with 2 exclamation points.
We See Rules, but the I has been turned into a 1. No one will ever guess that.
You're supposed to use a numeral. Oh, great and powerful Hut. Oh, fine. Yes, we'll put a 1 right here. Oh.
We See changes their password to emoji. There's a little hut emoji followed by a crown emoji and an exclamation.
Perhaps. It will certainly depend on whether she's figured out what's happened or not. It's been a few days, probably. Nevertheless, having passwords means that now you have a better idea of what kind of passwords that person likes. They may actually do something that's similar. Because Huts are not always as clever as they think. The Sith nods to both of you and says, all right, if this is everything that you can give me, then I'll be on my way. Any last words?
Phrasing.
Sorry. Pause. Yes, any last words? Pause. Before I leave.
Just to be sure, are you guys going to extract the non-officers, or should I go ahead with my tour group to see the great nebulas of the Outer Rim plan? It's up to you.
I'll be doing my best to extract the non-officers, but if you want to come back and help with that, that's certainly a potentially useful
You cut out halfway through the word useful.
thing. Useful thing. Potentially useful. I've got a shuttle, but it won't look like a Republic shuttle very much.
Well, I'll see what I can do. We'll keep you posted.
I see. Well, I'm intending to leave the moment that I walk out of here. I'm going to pick up my luggage and go. I'm sure we can find appropriate payments for additional assistance and transport if you require such things, but if you feel that you're too likely to be apprehended, I would not want to interfere with someone else's operation. He nods to Zwolrock.
Zwolrock nods back, and we are unlikely to be able to gather an efficiently large number of transports or an efficiently large transport. And we do need to investigate the parasites.
He nods. Yeah. Yes, does sound like a good thing to investigate. Good hunting. Good luck.
May our ancestors watch your footsteps.
He does a blink, another nod, and leaves. Captain Travas stands when he goes, and appropriately, yes, he will bow to the Sith who are leaving and sits. Glances to see if he should be sitting back down because, Zorak is obviously here, and it's generally good to be polite to people who might dangle you from your throat, 2 feet off the floor, or zap you, that sort of thing.
Or convince you to duct tape yourself to a bulkhead.
Indeed. The parasites are certainly a threat. I assume you've told the medical staff about them, my lord?
Yes.
All right. Unless there's anything else, I wouldn't want to have to keep you, which is when some alarms start going off and his comm starts going chime, chime, chime. Excuse me, he says. He taps the comm.
Do we need to be getting out of here?
Do I know anything about alarms?
Well, that's a good point. Perhaps we will hop back a few moments.
Oh,
Rotini, where on the ship are you?
Well, I've set up various monitors to keep an eye on the ship. I'm very confident that those will be enough. And I am attempting to keep Kodo occupied by continuing to play our rousing game of, no, I'm definitely not cheating at Cornhole.
He totally cheats. On the other hand, his cheating is not as good as your throwing, so, well. Okay. Give me an electronics operations roll, ideally for sensors, but, you have just plain electronics operation just horribly, so make your electronics operations by enough.
Is 7 enough?
By 7. Yeah, I think 7's enough. You're busy figuring out if you can, sufficiently, turn around and throw it over your as to continue to show off.
Oh, no, some of these beanbags have, propellers and anti-grav. If you're willing to cheat, so am I.
This is certainly an interesting arms race. There is an alert going off on one of the things that you've set up to basically patch, the bridge monitors down to engineering.
Hold on. I gotta take this. What's up, Elbow? Mental note, install language module that doesn't just repeat 50 variations of where is the bathroom. Okay, I just read the readout of what's going on.
So, a Corellian freighter has just come into just popped out of hyperspace, and it's broadcasting. Yeah, you know that transceiver. You put that transceiver on yourself.
Ringing up Zisha.
Claiming to be the Bucephalus.
Hey, Zisha. The Bucephalus just arrived.
Huh. Thought I'd shaken them.
Any particular reason why they might have been able to change course? We already know the answer to that. I think you already know what you need to do. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the ship soon.
Yep.
And I start doing whatever I need to do to help get the ship ready.
Give me an engineering roll. Sorry.
No. It was my cube. I was overconfident.
You made your engineer by 9.
I get nervous when I see 4s and 5s in the rolls, and then made it by 7. Oh, that's right. I have too many points into.
Yes, this is one of your extremely boosted skills.
I am not rolling for dance.
Besides, you rolled a 1 in there as well. It was perfectly fine. You rolled a 9. You made it by 9. You roll your dexterity, and you're still unable to dance. Yep. Captain Travas says, as soon as Zisha is done with Rotini, is there something I should know about the Bucephalus?
Well, I told you about swapping the ship IDs, but I don't know why they're here.
I'm not particularly fond of letting them get a way to reveal where we are.
Well,
And you kindly corral them enough for us to get a tractor beam lock or talk them into it.
do what I can.
With your permission, then, my lord, dismissed.
Yes. We will corral the Bucephalus.
He nods and stands appropriately to allow you to precede him from the office where Lieutenant Nickel, not NyQuil, is waiting to lead you back at whatever speed you wish. And all things considered, I think that's a good pause point because I'm being crawled on by a cat, and also the other cat needs her food. So let's say we go into our outro and deal with the second Bucephalus next. If that's all right?
But that would mean that we have to talk about how Eo's mom writes books.
At ElizabethMcCoy.com and fanfic at Archangel Beth at Archive of Our Own. And speaking of cool stuff,
Ice.
true.
But also, we put all these podcasts over at aaronbsmith.com/cogwheel. You can follow us on the Fediverse at is.aaronbsmith.com/@cogwheel. And we have a Patreon, where you can go to patreon.com/cogwheelgaming to join other illustrious patrons who get to listen to the episodes as soon as they are edited, as opposed to several months later because we have a buffer. Those patrons include Ellie, Shanshan, Walter, Liv Drummond, and patron emeritus Cindy.
And until next time, this is Beth saying, okay, so let me check my character sheet. Okay, I've got this serendipity thing. So we've got this fake transponder stuck on us, and it's apparently been here before. So how about some of those ships out there are confused, and they don't know which one's real, so they're not really. Sound good? Sounds good.
So
All right,
help
everyone,
me if
you all
one
get
of
an
them has
XP.
explosives 20.
No, it's hilarious. The NPC sheet that I grabbed is basically Zisha's evil twin.
Oh no.
I didn't realize this until I was looking it over. Then it's like, this is hilarious. She's a Twi'lek. She's the pilot. She's the smuggler pilot. She's got serendipity. I'm just going, yes, excellent. Oh, and you have 2 serendipities to spend for next time, Zisha.
Okay.
And everybody gets a point. See you next time. Good night.
Good night.
Yay!